All good things come to an end, they say. And today we conclude this epic multi-month road trip. I've lost count of how many miles we drove, probably close to 20,000, although the exact figure we may never know. Today we've got one more stop in northern Florida, and then back home to Miami. I won't bore you with the whole drive on I-75. It is not that scenic. Suffice to say, at some point we saw the familiar Welcome to Florida sign, and an hour later, we are arriving at Olino State Park. Why Olino? Well, we've never been here, and it is along the way.
I'm riding in my RV, wherever I want to be, 'cause I'm free in my RV, yeah.
This is pretty nice, actually. Today we're just gonna get to our site and take it easy. Tomorrow morning we'll explore a little bit. Hello, Charlotte. Good morning from Olino or something like that, State Park here in northern Florida. Let's go for a hike. Well, as I said, good morning, beautiful morning here. Well, kind of beautiful. It's kind of cloudy, but there's supposed to be a hanging bridge. No, what do you call it? Suspension bridge somewhere nearby. So we're gonna see if we can see it, and then it is pretty much non-stop back to Miami. Maybe I'm gonna take the turnpike, which is something I don't do every time, but time is kind of the essence. So let's look for that bridge. Well, this is from 1935 to 1936. Oh, there's the suspension bridge. I see it. And this is like a day-use area, I guess. I love the look of the Spanish moss on the trees. It reminds me of Savannah. This, by the way, the picturesque Santa Fe River, a tributary to the Suwannee. And this was once the location of a town called Kino, renamed Lino in 1876, which then became a ghost town, and the name of the park refers to Old Lino, hence Olino. It is one of Florida's first state parks, as the sign we saw earlier said, developed by the Army Corps of Engineers in the 1930s. Yeah, the bridge bounces as people walk on it. It is so beautiful, with the bald cypress trees reflecting on the calm waters. No jumping from bridge. Let's walk a little more here on the river trail. Let's see what this is. Like a dining hall, perhaps? I don't know, it is dark. These protrusions are called cypress knees, and nobody really knows exactly what their function is, but they are commonly seen in swampy lands in the southeast, like this one. Some say they reduce erosion. Others think they might help aerate the tree's roots. And this bald cypress, so beautiful, so elegant.
Let me tell you something, this is a nice park. I think we're gonna make a point to return here at some point. It kind of has that look, same as the Suwannee River State Park, sort of. That it looks a little more like Georgia than Florida in a sense, with all the Spanish moss and there's that historic bridge. All right, it's time to go. Before we continue, let me tell you about Harry's. And basically it is a personal care brand that is reinventing the way we shave. And I'm unboxing it here. It comes with the textured rubber handle razor, very nice, 5 razor cartridges, and the foaming gel, and even a travel cover for your blades. And this is what happened. The founders, Jeff and Andy, they were tired of all these overpriced, overdesigned razors that weren't all that great. And what did they do? They bought a German razor factory so they could provide the quality and the craftsmanship they wanted in a simple design. And that's what this is. It is convenient, you don't have to go out, they deliver straight to your door on your schedule, and it is actually an insanely good value with the refills starting at only $2. And they offer a 100% money-back guarantee that you will get a close and comfortable shave. The razor blade factory in Germany, they've been around for 100 years, and they even give 1% of their sales to organizations that promote mental health. Honestly, it is an amazing deal. You'll get everything you need for a close, comfortable shave, and you'll be supporting my channel by signing up. Just go to harrys.com/travelingrobert. I'll put a link, of course, so you can redeem your trial set for only $3 and join the million people who have tried Harry's. Well, you're gonna have to imagine the trip south because the GoPro decided not to cooperate, and it wasn't filming. Perhaps it is sad that the trip is over. Who knows? I think it's one of the batteries. I think is the culprit. In any case, the turnpike. It's still the fastest way to drive, through the Florida spine, across through the state of Florida. Still the most boring and most expensive way to do it, but yeah. But sometimes you have to do it, right? And after, listen to this, 18,575 miles, and we still got about how many miles to go? But it's about 114 miles to go. I've made my peace with the Colorado. It's been a reliable towing machine for the most part, so yeah. It still has many electronic annoyances, but we can overlook those as long as it gets us home, which is where we're going. The trip is over, but don't despair. Many other trips coming in the future, I'm sure. Well, enjoy the ride back to Miami. Until next time, thank you for watching, and see you on the turnpike this time. On the turnpike this time, on the road.
A few weeks after our return to South Florida, we had the second Miami Meetup in the trendy Wynwood neighborhood. The main tourist attraction here is the Wynwood Walls, which is considered an outdoor museum with all these large-scale works, murals by some of the world's best-known street artists. All around this area, we're gonna find converted warehouses, which nowadays are craft breweries, shops, art galleries, all adorned with tasteful graffiti. Actually, this used to be a pretty rough neighborhood back in the day, and it still is, except for this touristy area. If you walk too far in any direction, it can become dangerous pretty quickly. It is a vast installation. And as some of you may know, when I'm in Miami, I don't get out all that much. So I had never actually been here. I've driven by the neighborhood, and actually I thought all the graffiti painted buildings was what was referred to as Wynwood Walls, not this separate facility. Let's start walking towards the meetup place. And as you can see, most of the buildings have the walls decorated with some kind of painting or mural. This one is designed to be appreciated from a certain angle. Pretty eclectic, I must say.
Wine bar, and there's a block party going on.
Well, our party is going to be at the Vesa Sur Brewery, one of the newer ones, and let me tell you, very, very nice.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do a tour right now, so check it out. Should be fun.
You know, it is nearly impossible for me to film at the meetups because I spend most of the time talking. So here Alex, Mr. CLT himself, culture, lifestyle, travel, took over the camera duties. He also happened to organize the event, which came out great, so thanks. Alright, let's get a tour of the brewery.
Yes.
The name of the brewery, Vesa Sur, is a combination of Vesa, short for cerveza, or beer in Spanish, and sur, which means south. So, Cerveza del Sur, beer from the south, as in South America.
Also referred to as brewer's malt. This is essentially the base malt of just about every single beer that you drink. They range in darker color, Vienna, caramel malts, and you finish with your roasted barley. This is what we use for our coffee porter to get that strong, dark color. You're gonna get notes of dark chocolate, coffee, slight bitterness from this as well.
We get a very detailed tour of the facilities and the beer making process.
Once the grain has all been milled and the brewers are ready to make a beer, they'll drop all the grain into this tank, which is called our mash tun. Here's where we add hot water and steep the grain almost like a tea. From that tea, you want to extract two things. One is the color from the grain, and two are the fermentable sugars from those starchy interiors that you expose when you initially milled it. It's going to give you a murky, sugary water called wort, W-O-R-T, and that's essentially the beginning stages of beer. Once the wort has been fully extracted from the grain, it'll get taken out through a false bottom here, transferred into our boil kettle. The grains that we have left over, we have no use for them anymore, so we donate them to a local farm to use as feed for their livestock. And once the wort gets transferred into the boil kettle, bringing it up in temperature to a boil and concentrating those fermentable sugars contingent on the style of beer that the brewers are making. In the boil is also where we add our hops. So hops are a very special plant. It's a conical flower. You guys can pass it around, smell it. They grow on a vine, on a trellis, similar to wine grapes. They are a distinct cousin of cannabis, though non-psychoactive. And its purpose in beer, it serves as a natural preservative. And you also get bittering agents of taste, citrusy and floral aromatics, contingent on the strain of hop that you use. That's actually El Dorado, and that hop is what we use to make our Mala Hierba Session IPA. It's a good beer, right?
Yeah, it actually is good beer.
These are grown on the West Coast. So once the wort has been fully hopped, It'll get chilled through our wart chiller and transferred through pressurized hoses into these vats. So we're gonna walk back over this way. Today comes directly from in here. You guys are more than welcome to walk in there if you like. It's a nice warm 37 degrees in there. Thanks. Those house our three most popular beers, which right now is our Spanglish, Mangolandia, and our No Reservations IPA. So essentially it gets moved from one big tank to a smaller tank, straight out the faucets. And then right up top on this mezzanine is where we keep our barrels that we have beers aging. So we just released a beer yesterday. It is a Tiki Tiki is the name. It is Tiki Tiki. It's a coconut rum porter. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys. Absolutely. Thanks for making the beer.
Well, this was definitely a fun meetup, as they usually are. And this one was particularly special because it happened here, on the home turf. I can't wait for the time when it is safe and appropriate to get together like this once again.
You know, it's that unpredictable South Florida weather, right?
Cheers, Robert.
Cheers, brother.
We appreciate you. Absolutely amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Of course, we took a group picture, so thank you to all who came. As you know, getting to meet those of you who watch and hearing your stories is the most gratifying aspect of this that I do. So once again, thank you for watching and see you on the road. So now that the epic summer 2020 road trip is over, what's next? Well, I still have a couple of trips from back when things were normal. Coming up next is a trip we made to the Miyaka River State Park near the Gulf Coast right after the Tampa RV show in January. We went to Siesta Key and Sarasota, Venice Beach, and then we spent a couple of days in Homestead with our friends the Forries from Ohio. And there will be another meetup at the Miami Brewing Company. And then we resume summer 2020. So, yep, the adventure continues. Stay tuned.
I'm riding